Video, I'm going to be showing you how you can refine your entries. All right, guys, so this is episode 2 of the masterclass. I did upload a masterclass and spoke about market structure and level counts and how you can simplify your level counting. Right, so basically on today's video, I'm going to be looking at examples as I took some trades with the VIP last week. So I'm going to be going through those trades and showing you how you can refine your entries. All right, so the first one is GBPUSD. This is how our signals are sent. As you can see, every screenshot comes with this stop loss and a take profit. All right, so we had a sell on GBPUSD. So I'm going to be explaining my thought process around this and the reasons why I took this trade. All right, so if we go to the charts, let us jump into the charts. If we go to GU, this is what we can see. This is what happened last week. We took this trade right at this area. So if we can just look at the bigger picture for a second, what we can see is this market is clearly in a downtrend, right? This market was clearly in a down phase, right? So my thought process around that area was I had already identified the high of the week. As you can see, we had the market pushing into that 200 EMA, and the high of the week was already set, meaning I was now trading away from the midweek reversal, which is right here. Right, so already the market had given me a drop, pulled back to the order block, and given me another push down, which broke this structure. All right, so this structure was broken, giving us a lower low. Right, so as you can see, as this market ebbed and flowed, we had another drop, right, and the market pulling back. As the market pulled back to that order block, that is where we actually entered the trade. As you can see, that is exactly when I sent this signal. So the risk was not a lot on this one. As you can see, it was just slightly above that current zone right there. All right, so as you can see, this actually went all the way down to TP. We were targeting these areas as this was the closest demand that we could identify. So if we go to the M15 time frame, this trade went all the way down, hitting our take profit for our 120 pips. Right, so that was one of the trade we took last week in the VIP. Right, so it's always important for you to try by all means to minimize your risk. So if we look at this from the M15 time frame, what we can see is during Asian, this is during Asian, box would have probably stopped printing at around 8, somewhere at this area. So this move actually to the upside to this 200 EMA was the opening of London, right? So as you can see, we had some relatively equal highs right here, right? And then we had this move hitting the stop losses, right? Or grabbing those stops right at that area. And that is where our entry was. So in this case, with our entry being there, we were just risking around about 20 pips. All right, so take profit 120 pips, that was hit, and we were risking around about 23 pips on that trade. So that was also a nice trade that played out very well, as we could see some strength in the US dollar. All right, so as you can see, if we look at this from the weekly time frame, this was just very simple. False move week beginning the other direction, midweek reversal, and then a nice flow of price in that cycle, right? So yes, we did. That was actually a good trade that we took in the VIP, right? And then another trade that we also sent out to the VIP and the public channel for free. I'm sure you guys made money. If you haven't joined our public channel, do find the link in the description below. Remember, this is the only link which you can use to join our group. All right, so getting back to the VIP. So we took USDCAD, and as you can see, the stop loss was given and the take profit was also given in the screenshot. All right, so if we go to USDCAD on the chart, I actually do have some trades running that I sent out today, but we are not going to talk about that, right? So if we go to the M15, this is where our entry was, right? So we had our stops just below that area, as you can see. All right, our stops was just below the second leg, right, and our entry at that area. And as you can see, this trade was flawless as we had a clean day of drop that day, all right, and another move to the upside, right, leading to our take profit being hit, right? But the idea on this was very simple. If we look at this from the daily time frame, what we can see is price, right, has already given us a very aggressive move to the downside, but also reacting to this demand area right here. All right, so looking at how price was ebbing and flowing, right, we had this area being taken out right here. So I was looking for buys as we make our way up to these areas right here. All right, so that is the reason why I took that trade, and the same thing was used, right? If you look at this from the 4-hour time frame, we had a false move week beginning, right, a midweek reversal, and then the price continued to the upside. So that was also a nice trade that we took in the VIP. I'm going to be explaining the current trade that I have now, as these are signals which I actually sent today, so those are still playing out. Right, so yes, we also took USDCAD. That played out very well. We then took a trade on GBPJPY, but we got stopped out, and I'm going to explain why, as we had our stop loss very close, right? So there was nothing wrong with this trade, as I was trading off that 50 bounce there. But yes, I'm going to show you that on the chart, right? So it's not always every trade is going to be a winner. We do have some losses, but we do not really get moved by the losses, because the wins are always bigger. All right, so as you can see, what happened here on this day when we sold this, right, this area was extended, right, and then a peak formation was set, right? So I had completely forgotten about this pair, but if I did look at it the next day, I was definitely going to take a trade right there. So that trade left us, and that's okay. All right, so a very nice trade. So just by looking at this, we had that USD CAD. That is when we had actually entered the trade, as you can see, with our stop loss being at this area, as this was a supply area. So that is where I wanted to take my profit. And then we also had a trade on GU, which I did explain, which was pretty much very simple, right? We were just following the flow of price. As you can see, price was trading away from the peak. So I was anticipating a reversal from this area down to the demand, right? And that played out very well as well. Right, so we also looked at GBPUSD, and this was last week as well. And the reasons why I took this trade was very simple, right? I identified a peak formation, a clear drop of price, right? Peak formation, clear drop of price into a consolidation. So price had already given me the high of the day. So what I did was I took my fib from the high to the current low, and I was anticipating a move from the 50% area, right? So my stop loss was just above that area, and I was also targeting this demand area. So if we do go to GBPUSD, I also have trades running on that for today's signal. But if we go to last week, this is what we had, right? I took the trade right here, and as you can see, this went all the way down to TP, right? Our TP, remember, was set down there, right? This is where our take profit was set. So as you can see from that area, price did give us a very nice push to the downside, giving us 145 pips, right? So that was it for last week, guys. Very good trades that we took. And we also had a trade on Euro USD, right? And I did share all these trades in the free Telegram channel. If you haven't joined that, do find the link in the description below and become part of the team. All right, guys, so if you've made it this far, please do click the subscribe button. It does help the channel grow. Leave a like and leave a comment and share with your friends. After all, it is all free knowledge. All right, guys, so today we had some trades that were sent. We had some trades that were sent in the VIP. Right, as we had already started off the week. Right, so what happened today was the first signal that I sent, as today is still a Monday, was this NZD USD trade. Right, and As you can see, the stop loss was given and the take profit. But on this one, as we had taken this trade, this low was actually extended. So what happened was we were taken out with, you know, a very small number of pips right there, right? But just because the low gets extended doesn't mean we let the trade go. So if you can zoom in, you can see that we had this sweep right on those relatively equal lows right here, with sweep of price, and then we re-entered, and as you can see, that trade is currently running in profit right now, and it has already recovered the loss that we had. So we are just waiting to see this market push its way up to the 200 EMA or this supply area that we have right at that area right there. So that's one of the signals that we actually sent today, as it is Monday. As you can see, this was the re-entry signal which was sent, and it is currently in profit. Then we also sent a trade on USDCAD today, and if we look at USDCAD, the reasons why we are selling it will be explained, right? Very simple structure. We're not really looking for a lot on this trade, but basically what I'm looking at is how price has reached this area, which is a QMO zone for me. As you can see, high, low, higher, high, lower, low. So price is back at that supply area, and I'm just looking for sales to take it down to this demand area, right? So right at this area, our stop loss at this point is at about 9 pips, and our take profit is just at 60 pips, right? So that is also a good risk to reward trade playing out there, currently in good flow of price. So we are still watching that with the VIP to see how that one goes. And then we also took a trade today on GBPUSD, right? As you can see, sell GBPUSD, stop loss just above that area right there, and our take profit all the way down. And as you can see, that current trade on GBPUSD has been moving well. Currently, that trade has moved over 51 pips. So what we're going to do is I am going to move my stop loss just below this area, right? And I'll also notify the VIP guys to do the same, right? As this trade has already moved a good number of pips, right? So we're going to move stop loss below entry level so that this trade is now risk free. All right, so that's it. That has just been sent to the VIP. Right, I'll also send a screenshot through my phone to the guys so that they can make the appropriate adjustments as we go. All right, guys, so this is basically how you can make it easy for yourself, especially after understanding your level counts, after understanding your market structure. It now comes down to, you know, you just waiting for the right time when these sessions come through. So I don't typically trade Asian session. I'm usually looking for trades around London and New York, as you know, this is when there's much volume in the market. So yes, I have just updated the VIP guys. Stop loss is now below our entry level, and we are riding this till TP. As the trade goes, I will obviously be updating the VIP guys and advising them on where they can move their stop loss. All right, guys, I hope you've learned something from this video. If you are new here, I'm Simon the Trap Trader. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment and share with your friends. This definitely helps the channel grow.